So this one is a couple of weeks old. It came out in November 24th, and I wrote it about it December 7th, so it's about almost a month old, but it's still worth your time. I don't think I've done a video or talked about this in the podcast, and it's time to do that. A federal appeals court has upheld the Obama administration's secrecy surrounding the controversial targeted assassination program. While much of the media, I'm just going to skip this part, but basically, I start this article by saying that, while we've all been paying attention to Paris, San Bernardino, and the escalating conflicts in Iraq and Syria, which are definitely important, I'm not trying to say we shouldn't be paying attention to those. There are other issues at home that we miss. So, one of these would be the practice of targeted killings, or the disposition matrix, as it is officially known, and this is the Obama administration's program of assassinating individuals suspected of terrorism. The Washington Post first reported on the disposition matrix in 2012. Quote, over the past 2 years, the Obama administration has been secretly developing a new blueprint for pursuing terrorists, a next-generation targeting list called the disposition matrix. The matrix contains the names of terrorism suspects arrayed against an accounting of the resources being marshaled to track them down, including sealed indictments and clandestine operations. U.S. officials said the database is designed to go beyond existing kill lists, mapping plans for the disposition of suspects beyond the reach of American drones. Although the matrix is a work in progress, the effort to create it reflects a reality setting in among the nation's counterterrorism ranks. The United States' conventional wars are winding down, but the government expects to continue adding names to kill or capture lists for years. So for the last 4 years, New York Times journalist Charlie Savage has fought a legal battle against the Obama administration, seeking to reveal the government's legal justifications for assassinating terror suspects without a trial. Specifically, Savage sued the Obama admin in an attempt to obtain details about the murder of al-Qaeda-affiliated cleric Anwar al-Awlaki. Now, some of you may remember him. He was born in New Mexico, and he eventually found himself on the U.S. government's watch list for suspicion of terrorism. And on September 30th, 2011, drones sent by the CIA and the Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC, flew into Yemen and bombed al-Awlaki and his and al-Qaeda propagandist Samir Khan. This case drew public criticism not only because al-Awlaki was an American citizen, but several weeks later, after his death, another American drone killed his 16-year-old son. He was also a U.S. citizen living in Yemen. A 2014 ruling by Second Circuit Court forced the release of a memo from the Office of Legal Counsel. The New York Times and the American Civil Liberties Union fought for the release of 11 other memos, but the court protected 10 of them from release. The Times and the ACLU appealed the decision, but a 3-judge panel from the Second Circuit denied the release of the documents, upholding the secrecy. Judge John Newman wrote, this appeal, like the prior one, primarily concerns whether documents considering such lawfulness must be disclosed. And the ACLU executive director told Courthouse News, we strongly disagree that these crucial legal memos can lawfully be kept secret. In a democracy, there should be no room for secret law, and the court should not play a role in perpetuating it. The ACLU also stated that the decision would not be the last word in the ACLU's quest for transparency surrounding the government's targeted killing program. So the ACLU is now trying to expose more people to the dangers of this kill list and to continue shining a light on it, but it doesn't seem like we're going to hear anything through official channels. And as I say in this article, there's a real possibility that an American president could use this program on the American soil, to eliminate individuals who have been deemed, quote, terrorists or extremists. And while some of you may scoff at this idea, there are Americans who currently support curbing civil liberties and human rights for groups of people who hold certain religious and even political beliefs. This is all driven by fear, nationalism, and xenophobia, which the media and political pundits are more than happy to exploit. So if the free people, that's me and you, of this land wish to expose the tyrants and psychopaths in the American government, we should start by reducing our reliance on the institutions that we oppose. First, remove ourselves from this crumbling empire and all its machinations. Keep fighting to shine a light into the darkness and expose government secrecy, because as we know, in the end, truth always wins. But this is definitely a dangerous, dangerous weapon here, and this is one of the many legacies of the Obama administration, although he's trying hard before he leaves office to do whatever kind of good he can to erase the memory of Guantanamo, torture, force feeding, NSA spying, drone bombing, NDA, indefinite detention. We can go on and on and on. And not to say that he's any worse or better than any other president. They're all pretty trashy. They just mix it all together and fight for one part or the other. But in the end, as I said, truth will win and the people can stand up. And you better believe that there's going to come a time when we have to stand up to this idea of having people drone bombed, American citizens or not. I mean, we just completely let go of the idea that a person deserves a trial by a jury of their peers. And, I'm an anarchist, so I'm not sitting here arguing in favor of the current system, but I'm saying in any just moral system, there would be some form of, judgment. There would be a fair form of pleading your case, something like maybe what this system was designed to do before it got way too big. We could scale that back, bring it down to a localized, decentralized level, and you could actually have some justice in many of these cases. But right now, this is the federal government, some giant institutions trying to control the citizens, the civilians in the land, and people halfway across the world and say, okay, we've deemed you to be somebody worth killing. So regardless of what your government says or your courts say or what our courts say,